大家好，我是瑞思学的 Maggie 老师。今天非常荣幸的，我们邀请到了这个 Upper Canada College 的 Vice Principal， 也是 Head of Enrollment Management Mr. David McBride 来给大家做一场2021年的这个UCC 的招生说明会。同时呢，今天我们也非常荣幸的有两位UCC 的学生，一位呢是我们12年级的在读生Matthew， 还有呢是刚刚毕业的一位12年级的学生 Alfred。到时他们一个将为大家做翻译，另一个呢将为大家讲述分享他在 UCC 的这个求学的经历和新毕业的一些体会那么在这个过程当中，如果家长朋友们有任何问题的话，可以在我们的留言 Q&A 的这个留言区里给我们留言那么等这个我们主招官还有这个学生的分享结束以后呢，我会把大家的问题呢再整理反馈给我们的大招官来为大家解答。那么同时呢，也要向大家介绍今天大家在屏幕上看到的我们瑞思学的其他几位老师我们的 Jean 老师、Sherry 老师、Lucy 老师都在这个屏幕前跟大家一起来聆听我们 Mr. McBride 今年又有什么一些新的信息、招生信息跟我们分享。So Dave, it's your turn.
Thank you so much, Maggie, and thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight. It's of course 8:30 on a Friday night here in Ontario, but we're in lockdown, so what else are you going to do besides learn about schools? Unfortunately, my Mandarin is minimal at best, ni hao, but I'm very happy to have a student that I admitted to UCC. A student that I really have a lot of admiration for, that I can see in the boarding house every week, Matthew Wong, who's going to help me with translation. So I don't know if you need to translate that, Matthew, maybe while I share my screen and we'll get going.
是所以 Mr. McBride 想要对大家说，就是谢谢大家在周五的晚上8点半抽出自己的时间来听这个瑞思学所办的讲座。对他很感谢大家来参加，也希望大家能够在这个演讲后面受益匪浅。
Okay, can you just give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen, that first screen? Yes, okay, beautiful. Thank you very much. Okay, so we are full, happily, we're full right now for September 2021. So if you're on this call hoping to find a spot for your son for September 2021, I'm sorry to say that we're very full right now. So I'm going to be speaking about September 2022 admission.
所以今年就是9月份的那个招生名额已经满了，所以今天 Ms. McBride 讲的会是明年就2022年9月份的招生信息，所以他也很期待在2022年9月看到你们的孩子。对。
I want to start with our vision, mission, and values. And our current principal, Sam McKinney, great principal, when he arrived in 2016, 2017, I guess we started working on this vision, mission, values. And I think we try to live these vision, mission, and values every day. So our vision statement, which you can see on the screen, just some things I'll highlight in here. You know, I think that we want we value each student, each individual student, and we want to inspire him to be his best self. And we talk a lot about that it's not just about cramming their brains full of knowledge, but it's about inspiring each boy to be his best self. And we don't decide that, we don't know that, he decides that.
对，所以Ms. McBride 和我们的校长 Ms. McKinney 他们花了很多精力在就是写这个 UCC 的愿景，所以 UCC 的愿景在这个屏幕上你可以看到，就是 UCC 重视每位学生的独立成长，也希望启发每一位学生发掘出自己最大的潜能。然后 UCC 也重视多元主义，很自豪的把自己定位成全球顶尖出类拔萃的男校。所以Ms. McBride 这边很要强调，就是他学校不会定义每位就是学生他们对于成功的定义，是每个人自己只要激发出他们自己最大的潜能，在 UCC 就算成功。对。
The only other thing I want to mention on this slide is that last line that identifies the college as a global leader in the education of boys. We actually spent a lot of time talking about this, and we're Canadian, so we like to be modest and we don't like to brag. But I think at the end of the day, we said, look, our aim, we want to be recognized as the best boys' school in the world. That's our goal, that's our aim, and that's what we work towards every day. So we were very explicit in the choice of those words.
所以在这个愿景最后，你们可以看到，就是 UCC 把自己定位成就是全球顶尖、出类拔萃的男校。所以就是你不会听到就是招生官啊、校长经常会说这个因为可能加拿大人会比较低调一点，但是这个成为就是全球对于男校教育的顶尖是整个学校很自豪，也一直在就是重视的一个东西，对。
Our mission statement, again, just I'll quickly speak to a couple of things. We talk about transformational learning. Again, it's not just about getting facts in their heads, but actually about a transformational learning experience. And we want to develop head, heart, and humanity, and inspire each boy to make a lasting and positive impact on his world. So again, I boil this down to we want to help create really great men. We're going to go out and do amazing things in the world.
所以 UCC 的使命就是我要想为学生提供创新的学习和有颠覆性的学习体验，来培养每个学生的思考和人文的发展，并启发他们在以后的人生路上拥有持久的正能量。所以Mr. McBride 想要强调就是单单就是有很多的知识储备是在 UCC 是不够的，而更是就是培养我们成为有教养，然后有魅力的男人，能够在以后比如说人生路上、职场上能够发挥出我们的光芒。对。
And then the last slide of this, we spent a lot of time and we came down with 5 values. So 5 things that we would try to live every day. Obviously, learning. We're a school, so I would hope that learning is one of our values. Service, we expect our boys to be engaged and be involved in their community in that sense of not just one boy, but a whole community is important. The concept of well-being, that sort of head, heart, and humanity piece is important to us. And that the other bullet around pluralism, something that we've spent the last year working on our strategies around pluralism and just making sure that we demonstrate the values and the actions that a truly pluralistic society and institution, lives every day.
所以 UCC 的5大核心价值观是学习，因为作为一名学校，当然学业是为主的。然后第二是多元主义，就是不论你是就是比如说从什么背景来的 ，UCC 都很重视多元主义，想要让每个学生都感到在 UCC 能够很自在的成长。然后第3个是回馈社会，第4个是一种很强的社区感，就是学生和学生之间那种友谊和兄弟之情。然后第5个最重要的就是身心健康。对。
Okay, I'm just going to play a really short video, and this video is called Every Second Counts, and I'm going to also tell you it's old. It was done in 2019 by our film students. This year in 2020, it really wasn't a great year to be filming stuff on our campus. So this is 2020. And basically we asked boys to, in 1 second, show us what's important to them at UCC, and then we put the entire video together. It's about a 1.5-minute video, and this is done by our students. This is not done by me, done by our office, but done by our students. So it's about a 1.5 minutes. So if you just want to set that up, Matthew, and then I'll press play.
对，所以接下来就想要就是给你们看一个就是短片，这个短片是由我们学校的就是学摄影和就是传媒的学生所制作的所以这个小短片想要就是 捕捉就是 UCC 校园的各个方面，从体育到学业到住宿生活，所以请欣赏这个学生所制作的一个短片。
Okay, so a little bit about UCC. I think why you all came here today. So we are one of the oldest schools in Canada. We were founded in 1829, so we have been around for 191 years. A pretty long history in Canada. We are proud to have 1,200 students at UCC, including in most years about 88 boarding students who come to us from 25 countries around the world. A little lower number this year because of COVID-19. We are an international baccalaureate school, so we offer the IB diploma from senior kindergarten through to year 12, and I'll talk about IB in a second. And the other thing I'll just say before handing over to Matthew is the picture that you're looking at on the screen, that's our Deer Park campus. That's our Midtown Toronto, 35 acres in the middle of the city. Probably the most valuable piece of real estate in Toronto that's not been turned into condos or homes right now. We also are very fortunate to have over 500 acres, about 35, 40 minutes north of the city, called Norville, is our outdoor education campus.
Mr. McBride, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, my Wi-Fi was kind of bad.
Okay.
所以 UCC 是创立于1829年所以是一个历史悠久的一所男校。然后在校就是从高中到就是幼儿园和小学，总共有1200个学生，然后有88个住宿生然后住宿生来自25个不同的国家。然后 UCC 从幼儿园到高中都是有 IB 的这个课程然后 UCC 主要有2个校园，第一个是在市中心35英亩的一个主校园，然后第二个是一个比较室外的一个校园，是在 Norville 在靠北的一个校园，就535英亩，然后那个校园是供就是各种室外的活动。
Okay. So why Upper Canada College? We are really fortunate, and I feel very fortunate to work at the college, and we feel very fortunate every year that many families apply to the college and would like to have their sons at UCC. And I like to be a nice guy. I'd love to take them all, but we can't. But some of the reasons why I think that we are a school of choice in Toronto, in Canada, and in the world. As I mentioned on the last slide, we've been around for a long time. We've been doing this for a long time. We'll be approaching our 200th anniversary in 2029. So we've been doing this a long time. We believe the IB is the best approach to education. It is the gold standard of high school programs. universities and colleges around the world recognize it as the best, and we just believe it is it's the best preparation for boys, and they really love the challenge and the rigor of the IB. And then the last thing, I'll pause for Matthew. We're a pretty big school with 1,200 students. So by Canadian standards, that makes us pretty big. Because we're big, we do a lot. And I'll talk about all the sports and all the extracurriculars and everything that we offer. But to be frank, and again, I'm Canadian, so I don't like to brag, but there is no school in Canada that does as much as we do at the level that we do it at.
所以现在就是想要讲讲，就是为什么UCC 你们想要选择 UCC， 所以 UCC 是将近200年的教育专家，所以对于就是特别是教育男生特别有心得。然后 Mr. McBride 认为就是整个 IB 体系是就是教育的它叫黄金 standard， 所以就是他认为 IB 的话真的就是让 UCC 的整个教育体系就非常的特别，然后把我们的学生就是在未来的职场之类的都准备的很好。然后 UCC 因为总共有1200个学生，在加拿大已经算很多了，所以我们就是有非常丰富的课外活动。然后他又说就是因为他是加拿大人，然后很低调，不太喜欢就是吹捧就是 UCC， 但是他认为 UCC 就是所有课外活动是在加拿大学校之内是顶尖的，出类拔萃的。对。
The last two bullets on this slide that I just want to highlight. We understand that families send their students to schools like ours because they hope they go to great universities afterwards. Last summer, we hired a couple, probably the 2 best university counselors in the country. They have come to UCC and they have been fantastic in their first year. And I'll talk about our success with university applications. But I know that Maggie was on a Zoom call that they did a little while ago that was fantastic. So we really do have fantastic university counseling. Our boys go to great universities. And then the last thing I just want to say is the experience at UCC is fantastic, but when boys leave the college, they're part of a network of 13,000 alumni around the world, in over 75 countries around the world. It is an unbelievably supportive network. It's an unbelievably powerful network. I did not go to UCC. If there's one big reason why I wish I'd gone to UCC, it's that network and being part of that very, very powerful, very, very special network.
所以很多就是家长想要送他们的孩子来 UCC， 很大的一个方面的原因是就是想要就是申请好了大学然后就在去年就是 UCC 就是聘请了就是一对夫妇，他们2个都是大学升学官，然后他们是就是加拿大全国就是非常非常顶尖的大学升学官，然后他们在就是过去的1年就是都收获了很好的成绩，然后 UCC 的学生就是都去非常好的大学然后 Mr. McBride 也想要强调就是 UCC 的这个校友联络是有多么的强大UCC 现在总共有13000个校友，然后遍布在75个不同的国家然后对这个校友真的很强的，然后 Mr. McBride 还自己调侃自己说如果他是没去 UCC， 但是如果他要选择去 UCC 的话，最大的原因就是这个校友的联络的强大。对。
As I mentioned earlier, we are an international baccalaureate school. So we are what's called a continuum school. So from senior kindergarten through to year 12, we do IB the whole way through. And we're not a school where it's an option. Some do IB, some don't. Every boy does the IB diploma. And just by its name, I think you understand it is recognized. It's internationally recognized. Their schools go through a rigorous process to become IB schools. We're continually evaluated and have to continually improve. So if your son is at an IB school somewhere in the world, in Toronto or somewhere else, the quality is exceptionally high level. We believe that the IB diploma helps to develop globally minded students. And in this world today that we live in, that's so easy to go from one country to another, I think that's hugely important. So that is a real key component of the IB. Another aspect of the IB that we love is the concept of creativity, activity, and service. It's not just about academics. The IB demands that boys be well-rounded and be involved in all of those different areas. And the last thing, and again, I know for this audience it's very important, the IB is considered the gold standard for university preparation. The best universities around the world, they love IB. They recognize IB. Many schools, number of schools in North America will give credit because of the IB. It is gold standard, great preparation for university.
所以 UCC 像我之前说的，就是从幼儿园到12年级都提供就是整个 IB， 然后它 UCC 不像其他学校，就是只给就是一部分学生就是上 IB 的这个选择，但是 UCC 的所有学生都上 IB， 然后 IB 像Miss McBride 说的是国际认可的一个教育体系，然后他说 IB 是就是升学的一个黄金标准，就是北美你看那些顶尖的大学，他们都非常认可就是上过 IB 的学生，然后IB 的话有两个优势，第一个就是他培养了就是富有全球视野的学生，然后他在说在当今的这个世界，就是有全球视野性非常的重要。然后第二 ，IB 还就是培养就是像中国说的，就是德智体美劳的学生，就是不单单只是成绩好的学生，但是运动也好，然后也会回馈社会，然后也有很有創意，所以对。
Within the IB almost has its own language, and one of the things that the IB talks about, again, from senior kindergarten right through, is this concept of the IB learner profile. And there are 10 attributes, and those 10 attributes are what you see in that puzzle piece. Those are the 10 attributes that the IB tries to develop in each and every boy. Or each and every student, boys in our case. But, when I look at those words and I see words like caring, reflective, risk-taking, principled, just as an example, I think as a parent, those are the attributes that I want to believe my son is developing on a daily basis. And that's what the IB drives towards, focuses on, and that's what our faculty focus on, is developing these 10 attributes.
所以你们可以在这边看到，就是像这个拼图是所有就是 IB 想要就是培养的性格也好，自己的一些学习方法也好，所以这10个的话就是 IB 想要培养的学生，比如说 Miss Bright 举了一些例子，比如说有会反思的学生，非常平衡的学生，就是非常好奇心很强的学生，所以当 Miss McBride 看到这10个就是属性也好，性格也好的话，他会说就是如果我是一名家长的话，我会想要我的孩子也拥有这些品格和性格，对。
And then just the last slide about IB, for people who may be in IB schools, or if you come to UCC, there are the wheels, the magical IB wheels. And basically all I want you to take away from this slide is to understand two things. Number one, there are 3 distinct programs. So there's the primary years program, which runs from senior kindergarten to year 5. The middle years program is year 6 to year 10. And then the diploma program is the last 2 years. And I often say it's almost like doing first year university, but in high school. So there's 3 distinct programs. The only other thing I want to say about this is some families get nervous if they're applying for grade 7, year 7, which is a big intake year. They're worried, I haven't been in the IB. My son hasn't been in the IB since SK. Is he going to be okay? It's fine. it's fine to come in year 11. It's fine to come in year 7. It's great to start in SK. It does not matter. The IB is an approach. It's a philosophy. It's the way we teach. But you do not have to start in senior kindergarten to join the school or join the program.
所以在这边你可以看到，就是 IB 是从大班，然后一直到12年级的。然后IB 的话分为3个阶段，第一个阶段是从大班到5年级，第二个阶段是从6年级到10年级，第三个阶段是从11年级到12年级。所以这有3个不同的阶段。然后 Mr. McBride 就是想要强调，就是你的孩子不一定要从就是大班开始就接触整个 IB， 如果从11年级加入也好，从10年级加入也好，也完全没有关系的，对。
Matthew, I know I should know this, but is YK Powell an IB school?
Yep.
So you did come in with you didn't do IB before coming?
Yeah, it only offers diploma program, doesn't offer primary.
Okay, so you came, you hadn't done IB yet. Okay.
No, yeah.
Good example. Okay, all right. The fun stuff, what I prefer to talk about. Forget it. IB is important, school is important, but it's all the other things that I think make us such an exceptional school. So as I mentioned, well-being is one of our values as a school, and we are putting a lot of focus and a lot of attention around well-being. And I think if you could tour the school, you would find very good facilities. 3 gymnasiums in the upper school, weight room, 2 hockey rinks, bubbled fields. We also have the staff that make this work. We have full-time counselors, we have full-time nurses, we have a full-time fitness trainer. So, we're, I think, one of the only schools that I know that has that. A sports therapist, we have a psychologist. And then we also train our teachers who are advisors and to work with our boys to provide important support for each and every boy. So again, it's not about just about the academic piece, it's about the whole well-rounded piece of each boy. And then I think also as I mentioned, we believe that community and service is really an important part of who we are as a school, and we certainly encourage our boys to extend beyond 200 Lonsdale to get involved outside of UCC.
所以 UCC 非常的重视学生的身心健康。比如说在这个图片你可以看到，就是 UCC 有非常专业的运动设施。然后 UCC 也是就是加拿大就是仅有的几所学校有就是有一个就是全职的一个健身教练在我们的这个健身设施，然后还有全职的心理学家，全职的护士，全职的运动理疗师，所以我就是在设施和人才上面的话 UCC 就是非常超前然后 UCC 的话也就是很重视就是对于就是老师的培养因为我们在 UCC 的话有就是老师跟学生的接触很多，所以就是教老师就是怎么正确的跟学生沟通这个是 UCC 非常重视的。然后最后的话 UCC 也非常重视就是对于就是回馈社会和对于UCC 以外的这个社会的一些贡献和了解对。
The co-curricular, so the out-of-classroom experience, again, I think is something that's so crucial and so important. And in the IB, there's something called creativity, activity, and service. So even the IB as a program, it demands that boys do more than just go to school and go to class. We offer probably one of the largest athletic programs in Canadian schools. We play 19 sports at UCC. We do well in most. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're worried my son doesn't play hockey, I will tell you that the guy who runs admissions hasn't been on skates in 35 years. So it doesn't matter. I don't actually care. about hockey, and I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan, and that does not make me popular in Toronto. Matthew, I think you're trying to learn to skate, aren't you? Or is Matt? Yeah, you are, right? So there's opportunities, but we play 19 sports. The arts are also important. That's partly why I have that picture up there. The arts are really, really important at UCC. We have outstanding music. The drama productions that we put on, most of them we put on with the Bishop Strawn School, the girls' school 2 blocks away. They're as good as what I used to see when I worked in the universities. The visual arts is fantastic, and the boys, the films that they produce are just exceptional. So lots of great arts, lots of great sports, and we offer over 80 clubs and organizations at UCC. So things like Model UN and debate, cooking club. Matthew, if you want to throw in there the clubs that you started, I know you've started at least one, go ahead and throw that one in there as well.
所以 UCC 的课外活动，像之前说的，就是有非常多的选择。像比如说在 IB 的话，我们有一个东西叫做 CAS，所以就是创意，然后运动和社区义工，所以这是 IB 很核心的一个东西。然后 UCC 的体育非常的强，有19个不同的运动校队，然后我们在全加拿大就是不论是什么运动都表现都是挺出类拔萃的。然后 UCC 的艺术也非常的强，比如说视觉艺术啊，然后戏剧的话，我们每年都会跟我们就是旁边的女校 BSS， 就是每年都会一起就是自己做一个戏剧和话剧，或者所以非常有意思。然后我们的那个摄影非常的强，像你们之前可以看到的那个短片全程都是我们学生的作品。然后 UCC 有超过80个不同的社团，像 Mr. McBride 说的，就是我自己在 UCC 也自己创立了2个社团，所以就是如果你看到 UCC 有什么社团就是感觉没有的话，你也可以自己创一个，对。
Okay. I want to talk again. I don't know if there are families looking at boarding or not, so I have 2 slides. I just want to talk briefly about our boarding program. So most people know us as this big school in Toronto. We are primarily a day school, but we offer a very robust urban, what I call boutique boarding program. So we're one of the few boarding schools in North America in the middle of a large city. In Toronto is the 4th largest city in North America. Our boarding houses, 2 boarding houses, they are home to 88 students, usually from 25 to 30 countries around the world every year. And Matthew's in boarding right now. Boarding admission begins in year 8. It's rare. I will tell you, this year we took 2 students in the year 8, one of them that Maggie promoted to us, and he was a great boy. Thank you, Maggie. So we brought 2 boys into year 8 this year. But typically our entry years are year 9, year 10, and year 11. And because the IB is a 2-year diploma, there's no boys who just come for year 12. And I want to say to you that when I started at UCC in 2012, I never wanted a mother to see the boarding houses. They were terrible. They were awful, 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 awful. Since then, we've spent about $6 million renovating the boarding facilities. They are much nicer now. Boys have double rooms, and then boys in their last year in year 12 have single rooms, so which is kind of nice for them. Okay.
所以UCC 的就是整个寄宿的这个方面，所以 UCC 寄宿的话，一般是有88个学生，然后88个学生遍布在全球25到30个不同的国家。然后 Mr. McBride 想要强调，就是作为一名寄宿生，你是在多伦多北美洲第4大的城市，然后还是在离多伦多市中心就5到10分钟的车程的这一个地点，所以就是像作为一名寄宿生，你可以很轻易的就搭地铁就去市中心，所以是一个非常就是非常好的体验。然后 Mr. McBride 也想要强调，就是招生的话，对于寄宿生来说是12年级就是没有招生的，因为 IB 是个2年的一个system， 然后就是一般的话是 9到9、10、11年级招生比较普遍。今年当然8年级也有，但是今年只招了2个，然后一般都就是没那么普遍，就招8年级。对。
Just one last slide. Just some other things I'd highlight about our boarding program. First of all, we have mandatory study hall Monday through Thursday evening. So for 2 hours every Monday through Thursday, the boys are in their rooms studying. We're walking around, making sure that they're actually doing some work. Matthew's usually pretty good. I don't have to nag him too much. We also, again, in a normal year, we have a really robust weekend program where each weekend we usually would have at least 2, sometimes 3 activities organized that take advantage of us being in the middle of the city. So it may be, it may be going to an art gallery, it may be going to a sporting event, it may be going indoor rock climbing, it may be an event with girls' schools where we take a lot of our lead from the boys, and the boys help decide some of the things that we're going to be doing. We have 88 boys who live in boarding, and there are 18 adults who live on campus and work in our boarding community. I live on campus, I work in boarding. It's one of the things that I love the most about my job is I get to spend great time with guys like Matthew. And the other thing I'll just highlight, our director of residential life, Andrew Turner, is also the university counselor for the boys in boarding. So he knows those boys extremely well. He can work really hard with them, in particular over their last 2 years as they're applying to schools. And he is an amazing advocate for each and every one of the boys who lives in boarding.
所以关于就是整个技术方面的东西，还有一些补充，就从周1到周4，就是周中的话，每天晚上从7点钟到9点钟，都是晚自习时间。所以对我自己来说，这个晚自习时间真的能让我就是更加高效，然后真的集中在学习上。然后第二的话，就是在住宿这边，每个周末都有非常精彩的活动，一般都是2、3个精彩的活动，比如说去市中心那个大博物馆去看艺术，或者去看一场就是冰球比赛或者足球比赛。反正就是周末活动特别多，因为离多伦多市中心特别近。然后就是在住宿的那个师生比也非常非常低所以就是有88个学生，然后有18个就是老师在那边帮助住宿学，所以这是非常难得的。然后Miss McBride 想要特别强调就是就整个技术这个 program 的就领导是 Mr. Turner， 他也是我们每个就是住宿学生的大学升学官所以大学这样的话，他就能跟我们就是建立非常非常亲密的关系然后他会更了解我们，然后比如说在他最后比如说写那个推荐信的时候或者什么的，都会写出非常高质量的推荐信。对。
Okay, I'm going to share a slide with you that is last year's graduating class, because this year's graduating class, there's still some decisions to be finalized, but this is the graduating class of 2020. So from last May, not this May. Vast majority of our students, to be frank with you, go to school in Canada, and we are blessed in Canada with fantastic universities. That group down the middle, the US schools, I look at that list of US schools and there's not a bad school on that list. Duke, great school. I'm a huge North Carolina basketball fan, so I hate Duke, but it's a great school. Our head boy and one of our boarders is Stanford this year, so a fantastic list. And then if you go to the international list, look, the 2 that I think stand out on that piece are Cambridge and Oxford. And I can tell you that last year we had 3 boys admitted to a program at Cambridge that only accepts 18 students in total from around the world, and 3 of them were from UCC. This was last year's class. I will, during the Q&A, I'll talk a little bit about the class of 2021 and what we know right now. But this was just to give you a sense of where our boys are going to school.
对，所以就是就是2020年这届毕业生，他们都申请到了大学。所以大部分的UCC 学生基本上都是 在加拿大的大学，然后McBride 也很自豪说加拿大有非常非常好的大学，然后也有很大一部分学生选择去美国留学，像比如说杜克大学啊、哥伦比亚然后去年的那个学生会主席也是一名寄宿生Uche 他去到斯坦福大学然后在英国的话，像比如说牛津、剑桥每年都会有很多学生去，然后 McBride 很自豪的说去年有三名 UCC 的学生进入了就是剑桥的一个专业或者一个 program， 只有全球只招18个学生，然后其中3个是 UCC 的学生，所以我们的升学率或者升学质量一直都是非常高的。
Thanks. Okay. Now we're going to get to what you really want to know. I tell you all the things I want to tell you, and now you're going to get to what you really want to know. What are we looking for? How do you get into UCC? There is no magic answer, I'll tell you that, but I'll give you a sense of some of the things that we look for. Okay, number one, I already talked about the IB. It is a good, strong academic program. So we want students who are ready to rise to academic challenges, who demonstrated a willingness to do the work and are ready to get to work and have proven that they have very solid approaches to learning. So yes, we're looking at report cards. We want to see good report cards. We want to see great comments from teachers. We want to see good test scores when we do testing. The bottom line, academically, we want boys who are well prepared academically for UCC.
所以现在McBride 想要谈一下，就是他在招生学生的时候，一般就是关注或者特别注意哪些就是学生的一些方面。所以他第一个点想说的就是学生他学业上的一些就是成绩也好啊，就是努力也好啊，反正因为 UCC 这个学习环境其实一直来说都是挺有挑战性的，所以他在招生的时候想要看到学生进来的时候就已经非常准备了，比如说他想要看到就是第一很好的成绩单，然后第二老师就是对于学生的一些评语反馈，他也想要看到很积极的一些评语和反馈然后他对于学习有他们自己非常独特且有效的学习方法所以学业在 UCC 整个招生过程当中是非常非常重要的。
Second thing we're going to look for, we want to meet and see well-adjusted boys. Okay, so we want boys who in the interview and through what we can understand about them, that they bring positive energy and thinking, that they relate well to their peers, they've shown initiative, or they show relative maturity. It's that character piece and that well-adjusted piece, right? And look, I don't want to embarrass him, but my interview with Matthew, I knew without even looking at his report cards, I knew what kind of boy he was. And I knew he was the kind of boy that we wanted to have at UCC, living in our boarding community. And that's partly why he's head of house, I think, going into his graduate year, because he's that kind of kid. He's well-adjusted, great character, just a great citizen. And that's what we're looking for.
所以在就是招生方面，第二个就是关注的一点就是你除了成绩之外的一些，比如说性格啊，或者其他的一些品质吧，反正就有3点。第一个就是他想要在比如说他跟你的采访时候看到你是一个非常有正能量的人，很有激情的人，想要看到你的一些思想都是非常正能量的。然后第二，他想要看到是一个非常有同理心的人，就是能够比如说跟其他学生能够就是同理其他学生在想什么，还有同理老师在想什么。然后第三的话就是要有一定的成熟度，然后也非常能够就是 take initiative， 对然后McBride 也就调侃我说，就是 他就在只看我的一些课外活动的时候，就还没有采访的时候就已经知道我是一个什么样的人了，所以就是对。
And the last thing that we're looking for, the third piece, is co-curricular development. Okay, so I talked earlier about 19 sports, and there's 14 bands, and there's 80 plus clubs and organizations. We need boys who are going to come and get involved. So yeah, we're looking for boys who present outstanding extracurricular talents. I want to say something though. I want to caution people. I think sometimes people believe that means more, like more. My son does everything. Monday he does this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, Thursday this, Friday. We don't want over-programmed. Here's the worst thing that happens. Parents tell us all the things their boys do. And then I ask the boy, what do you like to do? And he says none of those things. That's not good. That shows a real disconnect. So we want outstanding extracurricular talents. And I want boys who take pride in what they do and love what they do and talk passionately about that. So at the end of the day, what am I looking for? A nice, well-balanced young man.
所以第三个就是关注的点就是孩子的课外活动，所以他想要就是看到就是这个孩子进入 UCC 的那一瞬间就想要就是在学校里大展身手，就是想要就是加入这个社团这个体育队但是他老师 Mr. McBride 也就是警醒就是各位家长就说就是也不要就是让孩子就是做太多要有一定的深度，然后他也警醒说就是不要就是他之前看过有些家长就说孩子做这个，但是当他就是问到这个孩子他喜欢做什么课外活动的时候，他说我妈妈之前说的那些列表一个都不是我喜欢的，所以他说这样的这个就是行为或者什么就是非常不有利。然后他说也要就是孩子对自己在擅长的课外活动，他要希望孩子就是对这些课外活动有一定的自豪感和一定的激情，就在谈论起这些你参加的社团和体育队的时候他可以看出来你到底是不是真心的喜欢和对这个东西由衷的感兴趣。
Okay, just a little bit about our application process. And things are still in a little bit of flux as we are just starting our planning for next year. But right now I can tell you that on September 1st, our application will open, and it's an online application. I can tell you that if you're applying for day, the application deadline is December 1st, and that is not negotiable. Applications must be received by the 1st of December for day, or we do not accept the application. Our day offers happen on the 25th of February. So most of the top Toronto schools, we make our offers on the same day. So the 25th of February. And those are for our entry years. And our entry years at UCC for day are senior kindergarten, grade 3, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, and grade 9. So the 25th of February for everything but senior kindergarten, we do that a little bit later. Everything else, we make our offers to our entry years on the 25th of February. And if you're on here and you're thinking about boarding, typically we shut our applications down. Most years I would say April 1st. This year we shut our applications for boarding on February 25th because we were already full. So earlier is better. So if you want to just do that, Matthew, and then I'll do the last three things.
Yeah. 所以就是关于整个申请和招生的这个流程就是2021年9月1号是就是所有申请开始的时候然后12月1号是截止日期，然后招生官特别强调说12月1号这个日期是一个非常硬的一个 deadline， 就是如果你过了这个的话招生官是不会看你的任何的申请的一些信息。 然后2月25号，是UCC 发录取通知书的时候，然后这个日期是多伦多其他就是比较有名气的高中一起发录取通知书的时间，所以是同一时间一起发送，但是他也想要强调说，这个 offer 是只发给就是除了大班以外，就是3年级、5年级、6年级、7年级、9年级的学生，然后如果你是住宿生的话，就是9年级、10年级和11年级。然后4月1号是申请寄宿这个 program 的这个截止日期。
So we're gonna ask in the application, we want to see the last 2 years of report cards. So June 2020, June 2021 report cards. So we want to see those. We want to see pretty good marks, pretty good grades. You know, we don't accept a lot of students with bad grades. We typically require an admissions test. So for boys who are applying to the upper school or for boarding, we use the SSAT. For senior kindergarten to grade 7, I can't tell you what the test is going to be because I actually don't know what it's going to be next year right now. But we usually do have an admissions test that's part of the process as well. So report cards, admission test. We are very fortunate. We have a lot of applications. We do not interview every boy. So we'll review report cards and test scores and applications first. We'll try to interview 75 to at least 80% of the boys who apply for a given year. And this year we used Zoom. It worked pretty well. Right now, I'm anticipating we're still going to use Zoom for next year just to be safe. I talked about when the offers per day happen. We begin making offers for boarding usually in December. So we'll make a rolling, what's called rolling offers for boarding. So we'll start in December, we'll offer until we're full in boarding.
所以关于招生更多的一些信息，就是每位就是学生和家长必须要提供的有三个信息。第一个信息就是过去2年，就是2020年6月和2021年6月的成绩单。然后招生官也特别重视说 UCC 不会招就是成绩特别差的学生，就非常少招。然后第二个的话是一个标准化测试了，所以对于就是8年级以上的学生的话是 SSAT 作为标准化的这个测试，然后对于就是8年级以下的学生，就是从大班到7年级的学生，是 UCC 就是自己制作的一个测试，然后但是招生官现在不知道就是明年招生的话是具体用哪个测试，然后关于就是采访的话，就是第3点，就是会有个面试的一个机会，然后今年就是招生官是用 Zoom 这个平台，然后他也就是认为明年因为安全原因的话，应该也会用 Zoom 来做面试，然后他尽量就是给每个学生都会有面试的机会，但是一般这个比例的话，在75%和80%的学生会有面试的机会，然后关于寄宿学生的话，就是关于那个录取通知书是从12月开始，然后12月就是他会一直招生，然后直到招满，所以从12月可能到4月或者6月就一直招，然后直到招满，对。
One thing that I realize is not on this slide, and it may be a question that comes up. What about non-entry years? Should we bother applying for a non-entry year? Okay, so for us, non-entry years are grade 1, grade 2, grade 4, grade 8, and then per day, anything past grade 9. If all I cared about was the number of applications that came in, I would tell you, apply. I'm pretty honest about things. I will tell you that this year, we accepted 2 students into grade 2, and that's the only 2 spots that we admitted into non-entry years. Okay, because we have so little attrition, people don't leave UCC. So we took 2 boys into grade 2. Those were the only, and there was about 40 applications for grade 2, and we took 2 boys. That was it. So if you're on this call and you have a son that would be applying to another year than those ones listed, I'm not going to tell you don't apply, but I'm going to tell you chances are, if it's another good year for us, chances are we won't be admitting boys in non-entry years.
所以招生官想要就是再补充一点，就是如果你的孩子是1年级、2年级、4年级和8年级的学生，就是我们叫做 non-entry year 的话，就是录取的，就是该不该申请，就招生官觉得你可以继续申请，但是就是录取的这个几率真的是少之又少。他举了个例子，比如说2年级作为一个 non-entry year，在2年级的时候，大概有40个家庭申请了，然后只有2个家庭录取了，然后这也是特例，可能在就是普通的1年的话，连1个都不会招，所以就是他想要强调一下这点，对，他也不是就是鼓励你不申请，但是只是让你知道就是这个 non-entry year 这个录取的几率非常非常少，对。
Last slide before I turn it over to the boys. I just will speak very quickly. UCC offers more financial assistance than any school in Canada. We award $5 million a year, over $5 million a year, in fact, to families. These are not scholarships. Okay, I often say every boy that comes to UCC could get a scholarship. This is based on family's income, family's need. 20% of students receive financial assistance at UCC starting grade 5 and above. Here's the catch: must be Canadian citizens to be considered for financial assistance. That's not my decision, that's the school's decision. If you want to apply, we try to make it fairly clear on our website. There's a company called Apple Financial Services. They work for most of the schools in Canada. You submit one application to them, they do an assessment, they tell us. Deadline to apply is December 31st. And if you receive an offer of admission, you'll receive at the same time, and you've applied for financial assistance, you'll receive a decision as well. The only other thing I'll mention, if you do receive financial assistance, you have to reapply for financial assistance every year. And that's because people's financial situations change. If you're receiving financial assistance and you win $50 million, we're not going to pay for your son's tuition anymore. We'd actually like you to make a nice gift to us if you win $50 million, okay? If it goes the other way, we will increase the amount of financial assistance if somebody loses a job or what have you. So a great program, but Canadian citizens only benefit from it, unfortunately, right now.
所以然后招生官想要讲一下，就是 UCC 非常非常宏大，也非常非常厉害的这个经济辅助这个 program。所以 UCC 的这个经济辅助这个整个项目是全加拿大就是金额最大的，然后也是最大的一个经济辅助的一个项目。每年大概有500万加币就是作为经济辅助给出去。然后20%的 UCC 学生都就是受益于就是某种程度上的经济辅助。然后招生官想要强调，经济辅助不等于奖学金，是给就是真的家庭有因为可能收入问题就是有需要的家庭才能就是 apply。然后关于就是谁能得这个经济辅助的话，现在目前情况上有两个要点，就是第一个要点是必须要是加拿大公民，第二个的话只有5年级以上的学生才能申请还要获得就是经济辅助。然后怎么申请经济辅助呢？是在12月31号之前是通过一个第三方平台叫做 Apple Financial Services 来申请，所以你要再申请再重新申请一次对 The Apple Financial Service， 然后他们会告诉 UCC 到底你能不能获得经济辅助。然后在就是发那个录取通知书的同时，你也会就是知道你到底有没有得到经济辅助。然后最后一点的话就是每年的话如果你比如说你今年得了经济辅助，然后明年想要再就是经济辅助的话，你需要重新申请。这是因为老师比如说招生官说，比如说你中了50万的彩票然后学校就可能会把你的经济辅助给取消。但同时比如说因为比如说疫情也好，然后就是收入有减少的话学校也会相应的 把这个经济辅助的这个额度和程度给提高。
Great. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I'm going to allow you to hear from two boys who are going to either confirm what I've said is true or going to tell you that everything I've said is a lie, but they'll tell you the real truth of, I think, what UCC is. I'm going to get some tea, and I'm going to leave it to Alfred and Matthew to tell you a little bit about their experience, and then I'm going to come back, and I know that we've got some questions that I will take care of. Okay, so Alfred, I think you're going to start, if you're okay with that. Maggie, I don't know if you want to tee that up.
Yeah, okay. Sure. 现在我们请这个我们 UCC 今年刚毕业的12年级的学生 Alfred 来跟大家分享一下他作为一个 UCC 毕业的学生在 UCC 求学经历的一个就是感受啊。Alfred, please.
Sure. Before I get started, mic's not too loud. Everything's good, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So hi, everybody. My name is Alfred Chi. I'm a graduating senior at Upper Canada College. And I know I have a few minutes for my little speech or ramble today. And I can assure you that it's probably not going to be enough to kind of, summarize the quintessential UCC experience, but I'll do my best. And I also want to, give Matthew some time to elaborate on his spiel as well. But yeah, so I guess I can just get started. And what my goal, of this speech here is to kind of explain my reflections on my time at UCC and kind of maybe clarify that a little or kind of explain that to you, the audience, better. And thankfully, Mr. McBride is back, so I can actually confirm that it is pretty similar to what he's been talking about. So no conflict there. He's wiping the sweat off. I can see that. So yeah, I can just get started straight away. So I'd like to kind of open by saying that we have like a little informal, formal motto at UCC, and that's never walk alone. So this is something, coming into UCC, you kind of feel like, and I feel like some of you, in the audience may be thinking it's kind of like a hackneyed community message or it's kind of trite. But I can assure you that it's absolutely not the case, and it holds some very special meaning for, I think, all the boys at UCC. So, this informal motto, never walk alone, it's painted on a mural on a wall in the lower dining hall, which is one of our, I think, 3 cafeterias. It's sung at assemblies for the graduating class. Unfortunately, we couldn't do it, this year because of COVID. And in general, this kind of attitude really just permeates every facet of student life. So I should actually let Matthew translate. I realize I've been rambling for a little bit.
所以Alfred 想要说，就是他一开始说，就是 UCC 有一个第2个校训叫做永不独行。所以 Alfred 就特别就是赞成，就是也深有感触，就是关于这个永不独行这个第2个校训的这个说法。他觉得 UCC 整个就是氛围也好，整个环境也好，真的就是很好的诠释了这个永不独行这4个字。然后每年我们都会在集会上和就是12年级毕业典礼上一起唱永不独行这首歌，然后就是每次唱的时候都就是很有感触。对。
Yeah, so before I continue, I'll also kind of open up with a bit of a story here. So I joined UCC in grade 7, so I've been here a while. I'm kind of a veteran. But we have 2 separate schools. We have the preparatory school and the upper school. So coming to the upper school, it was pretty daunting as a grade 8 student. And I was kind of like in my shell, if you will. I didn't really try a lot of things. I was kind of reserved. And then one day, in year 9-ish, the grade after year 8 is what it's called now. I got an email from Miss Rideout, the director of university counseling, because we have a university counseling office at UCC. She sent an email about extracurricular enrichment opportunities, and I was perusing the email, and I saw this really interesting extracurricular titled Junior Achievement, which is a business and entrepreneurship extracurricular. It's absolutely free. It's essentially like a 3-hour commitment every week. But I was looking at it and I thought, why not try it out? And long story short, this particular email by Miss Rideout was actually the cause for my passion in entrepreneurship and business. It really spark that, drive to kind of learn a lot of things at UCC and kind of step out of that comfort zone. And that's actually what I did, coming back from junior achievement, is I dove deeper into UCC's community and found a lot of things that I didn't find there before. So Matthew, if you want to translate.
Yeah. 所以 Alfred 想要就是讲个故事，就是他在7年级的时候，7、8年级的时候，是一个挺害羞腼腆的一个学生，就是对，一直在自己的舒适区里，他是这样自己说的。然后直到就是有一天，就是我们的一个大学升学官给他发了个邮件，就是关于各种各样的课外活动，然后其中一个课外活动就是立即就是吸引了 Alfred 的眼球。就是这个活动叫做 GA Junior Achievement， 这个活动是一个完全免费的一个创业活动，然后 Alfred 加入了，然后是一个维持18周，然后每个星期就3个小时的一个课外活动，然后这就立刻激发了他对于创业和商业的激情和兴趣，然后在这个 JA 这个整个活动之后，他对于商业又更深的钻研，但更重要的是，他就让他意识到了 UCC 就是有的课外活动和机会是无穷的。
Right. So coming back from junior achievement, I found myself really having this desire for like an innate desire for learning, not really like learning in the sense for the sake of school, but learning as in really learning and taking in information and processing it and making that real significant knowledge, and kind of becoming the best version of yourself, as UCC's vision so prominently states. So what I did was essentially, I was looking for opportunities everywhere for enrichment, right? Like I would join DECA, I joined the swim team, absolutely love the swim team. It's arguably one of the best communities out there. I will happily fight any of the hockey dudes who says that, swimming is not the best sport, but I think, in my opinion, that Mr. McBride has a rebuttal.
No, Alfred, I totally agree with you. And
okay.
Here's the thing that is interesting. There are more boys who swim for UCC than play hockey for UCC.
There you go. Speaks volumes.
Yep.
But yeah, so as I was saying, the swimming community is absolutely amazing. But that's like a totally separate topic. But essentially what I was saying was I joined DECA, I joined the swim team, I dabbled in a bit of mock trial, I dabbled in a bit of Model UN. I applied for WAC, World Affairs Conference, which is our entirely student run. I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like a totally province wide, actually it was global this year, but it's a summit essentially, or a conference on global news, and it attracts like students from so many different countries as well as schools to that conference, and it's entirely student run. But I applied for WAC. That was one of the things I tried to do. I started a fundraiser, and generally, like I found my attitude really improving, in the classroom, and I was starting to really like learn, and not just, as I mentioned, learn for the sake of school. So Matthew.
所以他 Alfred 想要说，就是在 UCC， 就是真的对他来说有很大的一个转变。就是他现在开始就是真的是对学习不只是应试，也不只是一种就是很死板的一种学习，他现在对学习是一种由内就是由内而外的一种就是对于学习的一种就是真挚的一种激情和好奇心。像他就是加入了各种各样的社团，比如说 DECA， 比如说一个在就是多伦多和乃至就是全世界也非常有影响力的一个峰会，叫做WAC World Affairs Conference， 然后也加入了游泳队，然后 Alfred 也就对自己在游泳队的身份也非常自豪。反正Alfred 就想要说的就是 UCC 就是让打开了他的视野，也让他就是有机会能参与各种各样的活动。对。
Right. So and looking around at my classmates, I'm not the exception at all. There's plenty of exceptional boys at UCC, and Matthew is actually one of them. I'll elaborate later. So looking around myself, like at my classmates around me, you have people who would start really early. Like I have a few friends who were, I think, sitting in on World Affairs Conference meetings in year 8 and year 9, and by year 12 they were actually leading the conference at UCC. chairing the conference, delivering the opening speeches and whatnot. You have a student-initiated cancer fundraiser called Relay for Life. I think last year we raised over $100,000 in funds, and that was entirely student-run, which is absolutely insane. We have students joining the jazz band, the wind ensemble. You have people joining the drama plays. You got swim team captains, right? And using Matthew Wong as an example, hopefully he doesn't mind this. But he started 2 clubs, pros and cons club as well as industrious. And these are just like a few of the things that you can really take interest in or use your time with at UCC. And essentially what my main takeaway of all this, not really insanity as in like a bad sense, but insanity in the really good way. Like it's hard to put it into words, but what I can really say to articulate this is that UCC really rewards intellectual curiosity and essentially a drive to seek out the best in yourself and others. So it's, again, in line with Mr. McBride has said for the vision of UCC, but that is truly what I took away from all these experiences and kind of examining the community around me. So Matthew, if you want to translate.
所以对Alfred 就是关于就是 UCC 对于他的转变的话，他觉得就是 UCC 的学生都就很能抓住机会，就是比如说从8到9年级这么小的一个年纪就比如说在那个峰会的那个策划，就参与这个整个峰会的策划，然后参与各种不同的活动，所以从就是8到9年级就刚进入高中部，就是还就比较稚嫩的时候，就已经就是能够就是把握住这种机会，然后Alfred 也就是用我作为一个例子，就比如说我9年级刚进入学校的时候，我就跟我的一些同学就创立了一个社团叫做 Pros and Cons Club，因为就是我们都很喜欢就是一些时事热点的一些讨论，所以在 UCC 的话，就是 Alfred 想强调就是机会真的很无穷，然后他想说就是我也不知道该就是具体怎么翻译，因为他也觉得就很难表达就是 UCC 对他的影响，但是他是觉得 UCC 彻底的改变了他，就激发了他对于学习的激情和好奇心，对。
Right. So just to kind of wrap up and summarize, there's really no set path here. Yes, you have your academics and the very frightening IB curriculum, as I'm sure your sons will tell you eventually once you get to grade 12 and grade 11 and grade 12. But there's really no set path here. So you have teams, clubs, leadership opportunities, or even if you want to just go to your teachers for help, academic help or advising, you have really just communities and microcosms of support and enrichment to tackle that really challenging IB workload and get extremely co-curricularly involved. So I guess in short, to summarize, as with any school, UCC is what you make of it. This is kind of my personal take on what UCC has come to make, what UCC has come to mean for me. But I suppose, if you choose to look deeper, I guess beyond that, really iconic clock tower or, perhaps our history in Canada, I'm sure you'll find a really diverse, welcoming, and thriving community that really rewards those who deeply engage in it.
所以 Alfred 想要强调是在 UCC 没有一个孩子是走同一条路的，他觉得就是像回应 Miss McBride 一开始说了，就是激发孩子最大的潜能，所以就是不论是在 UCC 你是就是运动为主啊，或者艺术为主，就是你总能在 UCC 找到就是属于你自己的对于成功的定义，然后他也强调是 UCC 就是整个气氛和社区就是能够让你就是成长，能够让你成功的这一个氛围，因为每个人都很支持你和支撑你，然后最后他就想说就是一直在强调就是UCC 对他的影响，然后 UCC 是一个非常包容的一个团体和一个社会环境，对。
Yeah, and that's all for me.
Matthew, before you go, can I just say something?
Mm-hmm.
Alfred, you make me so proud to work at UCC. I feel immature listening to you talk. You sound like you're more mature than I am, but I just think the way you have taken advantage of everything that we have to offer at UCC, you are exactly the kind of boy that we want to have at UCC and that we try to develop at UCC. So thank you for choosing us, and thank you for making the most of your UCC experience.
Certainly, yeah. Thanks very much for having me.
所以 Mr. McBride 想要就是说，就是他刚才听 Alfred 说完这一番话，他觉得就是能够在 UCC 工作就无比的自豪。他觉得他很欣慰 Alfred 能够在 UCC 能够把握住这各种各样的机会，然后找到是属于自己的成功。对。
OK， 好，谢谢我们2位特别优秀的 UCC 男孩啊，一个已经刚毕业，一个现在12年级 Matthew 今年非常棒，翻译的非常好啊。OK， so 我们现在就要进入那个问答的环节。So Dave, it seems that this year the parents have very strong English. They are all asking questions in English. Did you see the questions in Q&A?
No, I was going to deal with the ones that you gave me first, and then I can deal with those.
Yeah.
Is Matthew going to speak? Is Matthew going to talk about his experience?
Matthew? Yeah.
Yep.
Would you like to talk a little bit about your experience at UCC?
Yeah, I would love to. I can
just do it in Mandarin though, maybe. So we only do one.
Yeah, 你就直接用中文讲就好了 ，Matthew。
OK， 那我就直接用中文讲。所以我是从9年级来到 UCC 的，然后我来之前，其实我一直就是听说 UCC 是一所就是声望很高的一所学校，然后我也知道我在 UCC 会得到一些转变，但是我没有意识到，在我意料之外的就是 UCC 对我改变的程度，就我感觉我从9年级，现在我11年级，就是我就是思想的那个成熟和转变，我觉得就是真的很出乎我意料。像比如说现在的话，我是在技术嘛，所以然后我跟我学生的就是我跟我就是同学的一些聊天的那个深度和高度，就是我觉得是在我就是可能之前的学校啊什么就很不一样。像比如说就我自己是可能对物理这方面挺有兴趣的，然后就感觉可以跟另外一个同班同学，就是志同道合的同学，能够聊就是一个小小的一个物理的一个比如说一个公式啊，一个知识就能聊很久很久，然后挖得很深。所以我觉得这种思想的碰撞在 UCC 真的让我受益匪浅，然后我整个就是思维的整个转变我觉得就是我第一我也很自豪，我也很感恩，就是 UCC 能够给我这么多机会。然后我也想就是重复一下 Alfred 之前说的，就是 UCC 的机会真的太多了。然后我觉得我自己也像 Alfred 一样，也很好的把握住了 UCC 给我的机会，然后就把每一次机会当做一个就是成长的一次体验。然后我觉得这样就是每次体验这样日积月累累积下来的话，从12年级出去的话，就我觉得我自己可能会有点偏心，但是我觉得 UCC 的男生，比如说到大学到以后的职场，就是真的我觉得我们会就是很与众不同，然后会干出就是自己的一番事业或者成功。所以这是我对 UCC 的一些看法。对，就这样。
谢谢你 Matthew。Okay, so Dave, I think it's time for us to answer the questions. Wow, okay. You're muted, Dave.
Sorry, first time on Zoom. Just joking. So Alfred and Matthew, I'm going to actually ask you guys to maybe help me with some of these as well. Okay, so the first question was about the IB's intense and demanding, especially as Alfred already highlighted the last 2 years, the diploma program. What does UCC do to help teenage boys handle the rigor of the IB? Let me say one thing first, and then actually I'd turn to Matthew and to Alfred to see what they say. Here's the one thing that I will say. A couple of years ago, we were hearing from the boys The IB is so hard, the IB is so hard, the IB is so hard. We know it's demanding. But one of the things that we did was we actually have become more deliberate in the way we schedule assessments to try to minimize the number of what boys call hell weeks. We try to minimize those by spreading out the assessments. What that means is if you're taking 8 courses, you don't have 8 midterms or 8 big assessments sort of happening over 2 days. So I think we're trying to be deliberate about that. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a real commitment to the well-being of our boys. And so there are activities and events and counseling and advising sessions throughout the week to try to just relax the temperature a little bit. So Matthew, if you want to maybe translate that, and then if you two want to add something, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll first translate that. 所以第一个问题的话，就是 IB 是一个非常有挑战性的一个整个系统和一个课纲，所以问题就是 UCC 是有什么，就是怎么能帮助就是学生来就是应付IB 的挑战性，所以老师的回答就是就是校方就是非常的刻意的安排就是考试啊，然后整个学习的这个整个 schedule 因为他老师也意识到就是 IB 真的非常有挑战性，所以比如说你选了8门课然后这8门课的话，老师会尽量把他们都错开，不会把他们放到一周一起考试，这样就减轻了学生就是的一些压力和负担然后让学生在考试上能够就是如鱼得水，对然后Alfred, would you like to add anything to the question?
Yeah, certainly. So for me, I know that if I had any trouble, I didn't really use the services personally, but I do know that they're there and they have helped boys immensely. We have a center for learning, so any boy can go in and ask for extra help with studying, practice tips or generally like getting some tutoring on whatever kind of content they need help with. As well, our teachers are very readily available. They have extra help hours, so you can easily drop in and go in and talk to them. They're super receptive to, I think, everyone. Yeah. I can't recall a single instance where, I would ask a teacher for extra help and they just straight up say no because they don't have time. It's not a thing. They're very accommodating. So yeah, we have extra help. We have Center for Learning. We also have, if the stress becomes really like bad, I haven't personally had to deal with that, but maybe it has been a case for some other boys. We have a mental health kind of wing. We've actually been, I think, renovating it. So we have a space for students to meditate and kind of practice mindfulness. And it's a really good place to like de-stress. We have a really well-equipped health center and mental health center as well to help boys deal with the stress and the demands of the IB. So I would say we're very well-equipped to help teenage boys, yeah.
所以Alfred 想要就是补充的话就是就几点，就第一点的话 UCC 有一个很专业的一个团队叫做 Center for Learning， 所以这个团队的话就是会就是一群很专业的老师，然后他们就是专门就是主攻就是怎么能够帮助学生就是更有效的学习，然后怎么减轻他们的压力。所以如果你有在 UCC 有任何的比如说我觉得压力太大或者时间管理觉得时间不够用了，都可以去这个CFL， 他们都会有提供很专业的帮助。然后第二的话就是老师就是比如说你有一个问题不懂或者一个知识点不懂，都可以随时找老师来探讨这个问题。然后 Alfred 他也说就是老师都非常非常愿意来就是帮助学生答疑解惑，他没有见过任何一个老师在他的印象里就是拒绝他的任何答疑解惑的这个请求或者需求所以就差不多是这样然后如果我要加一点的话，其实就是整个氛围就是能够帮助你减轻，因为每个人都非常的怎么说呢非常都想要成功所以就是整个氛围就会让你就是更加专注，让你效率更加高，然后跟其他的学生探讨问题的话也很有帮助。对 ，Back to you, Ms. McBride.
Okay, number 2, we're from a public school in the GTA in grade 7. Among your grade 9 admits, how many of them were from public school? I admit the best students. I don't care what school they're from. I'm looking for the best boys. That's my answer. I don't even pay attention to the number of independent school or public schools. I just want the best boys every year. So if your son is at a good school and you're happy where he is, leave him there. It doesn't matter.
所以第二个问题就是，如果你是一名7年级的学生，然后你是在多伦多区域，然后是一个公立学校，然后你想申请9年级的话，问题就是9年级有多少个就是多比例的学生是来自加拿大公立学校的，所以招生官就说，其实你来自公立私立也好，学校哪个学校也好，其实老师招生官不是特别在意，他说他只招就是最优秀的学生，所以就是招生官说你是来自哪个学校，招生官说他不是特别在意，对。Back to you, Ms. McBride.
Okay, question 3 about what are we looking for on report cards? If we have 1C, are we doomed? I love that, Maggie. If there is a C on a report card that is a C in dance, I don't really care. If it's a C in French and you've only been in Canada for 1 year or 2 years, I can get past that one. But traditionally, typically, we are looking for A's and B's, and more A's than B's. We're a competitive school for admission. I think both Alfred and Matthew have talked about the demanding academic program. I need to make sure that I put boys in the school that can be successful. So C's are not very good. D's mean death to me. So D's are not good. A's and B's are what we're looking for.
Love the pun there.
Thank you.
所以第3个问题就是关于成绩单，就是比如说你成绩单上面有个 C 是不是就证明你申请就没可能了所以招生官的回答就是，如果比如说你在舞蹈这门课程中拿了个 C 的话，招生官其实不是特别在意或者你刚来加拿大1年，然后你法语拿了个 C， 招生官也觉得这没什么太大的问题，也情有可原但是如果你比如说在其他的学科拿 C 的话，那证明你录取的几率就特别小，因为 UCC 只招就是最优秀的学生，然后学习的优秀是重中之重，所以A 和 B 是招生官比较希望看到的在成绩单上面。Yeah, Ms. McBride.
Okay. Most of the boys, as we've talked about, are day students at UCC. So we have 88 boys when we're full in boarding. How does the school ensure a warm environment for international boarding students? Matthew, do you want to answer that for me?
Oh yeah, I would love to. 所以这个问题就是大部分的学生都是走读生然后问题就是如果你是国际生，然后且住宿的话学校是怎么提供一个比较友好或者就是让你感觉比较舒服的一个环境对于国际生的来说。所以我自己是一个国际生，我从8年级从鲍玉刚学校从中国来到多伦多，是第一次出国，所以出国留学，所以对我来说的话，其实首先整个住宿系统里面因为大家都是国际生所以就会互相支持互相帮助彼此然后我觉得其实比如说第一年可能你知道那些走读生可能就是在一起玩了5-6年了，所以第一年有一个这个在住宿生88个其他的国际生在那边的话，帮助确实非常大，能够帮助你就是很快的就是感觉融入 UCC。 然后我觉得对我来说的话，就是最快融入整个 走读生的这个群体的话，就是参与社团，参加体育队。对我来说的话，就是我参加了足球队，然后就立刻就把我的那个就是圈子给扩大了。所以如果你来 UCC 的话，就是尽量多参与东西的话，你就会感觉融入的更快一点。Yeah.
I'm sure you gave a good answer there. How is UCC's 2021 matriculation? How many of them will go to the U.S. to U.S. universities? Before I answer the U.S. question, let me just say that Canada is blessed with amazing universities. Okay, right down the road from us, University of Toronto, one of the top 20 universities in the entire world. A lot of our graduates go to McGill, Queen's, and Western University. Those are four of the best universities in the world. So there are great Canadian schools, but I understand people have a fascination with U.S. schools. I did too when I was going to university. So what I can tell you this year, and this is like, we haven't published this yet. What I can tell you for the graduating class of 2021, 25% of them, so 1 out of 4, is going to the United States, the UK, or Australia. So we have boys going to, I know there's 2 twins going to Duke. We have a Moorhead Kane Scholar at University of North Carolina. Eugene E is going to Harvard for music. We have a boy going into direct medical school in Ireland. So 25% of our students are headed outside of Canada, which is up. And I would say a big, other than every boy in the graduating class is like Alfred is amazing. Other than that, I think that the 2 university counselors that we just brought in are just fantastic and are really trying to open up the minds of our boys and of our families about the different opportunities out there. So the big number though, 25% going to the US, UK, or Australia.
Yeah, I would just like to add Amir, also Johns Hopkins.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Good point. Good one. You're right. Totally agree. Johns Hopkins, one of the most competitive schools in the world. You're right. That good one.
Yeah. Okay. 所以第5个问题就是关于2021年，就是今年这届毕业生，他们的就是录取大学的情况，然后多少个去了美国的大学。所以老师招生官说25%， 2021年这一届的学生去了美国、英国或者澳大利亚的大学。然后招生官也非常想强调，就是说虽然美国的大学就是非常顶尖，但是加拿大本土也有非常非常好的大学，比如说离我们很近的多伦多大学是全球排名前20的大学，然后麦吉尔大学、皇后大学、西安大学大学，这些大学都非常非常好。然后就关于具体就是我们学生去了哪些美国大学的话，比如说有一对双胞胎兄弟去了杜克大学，然后有一个学生宇军他去了哈佛，然后有一名学生也是住宿学生，他去了UNC， 然后拿了一个非常就是难拿到的一个奖学金，叫 Moorhead Kane。然后还有一名住宿学生，他去了约翰霍普金斯去那边读医，所以这大概是美国的一些情况。Yeah.
Okay. I'll try to go quickly here. UCC and UTS are 2 of the most competitive schools in Toronto. Yes, they are. What are the biggest differences between these 2 schools academically and non-academic wise? UTS is an amazing school, fantastic school. I think there are 2 things that I would say that make us very different. Number 1, we're IB and they're not. I'm not saying that one's better than the other, but that's a big difference. But I think where we are vastly different is the range of extracurricular opportunities. The 19 sports, the 80+ clubs, the 14 bands, just the range of what we do. And for our boys, when they're applying to universities and colleges and the competitive schools, that's what they are looking for. That's what they want. And so we just provide, I think, a greater range of extracurriculars. But both schools are excellent. 2 of the best in the country.
所以第6个问题就是关于 UCC 和 UTS 这2所就是在多伦多非常难进的学校，他们之间的不同之处。所以 招生官想就强调说，这2所都是非常非常顶尖的学校。但是最大的不同的话，第一点是 UCC 是有 IB 的系统，然后 UTS 没有。然后第二的话就是我们的课外活动的广度和深度，招生官认为超过了 UTS， 就是19个不同的运动校队，80个以上的社团，所以这些课外活动能够让我们的学生在申请大学的时候就能够 stand out， 然后出类拔萃。对 ，back to you.
What special talents do we value in an application? Team sports better than individual sports in the application process, is that true? I'm a golfer, so if you have a low handicap, you're a low handicap golfer, I like you. I'm sort of joking. We're looking for everything. Again, we're a big school of 1,200 students. I need students like Alfred who are going to be on a swim team. Matthew going to be on a soccer team. I need Model UN kids. I need musicians. I need everything. So do not try to program your boys. Let them find their passions, and they'll come to our school with some passions. They'll find some passions with us.
所以第7个问题的话是关于就是UCC 会不会更看重就是团体的运动，还是更看重就是个人的运动？像比如说高尔夫球，所以老师招生官一开始说，就是他自己也打高尔夫所以如果你能打高尔夫的话，他会很喜欢你，就半开玩笑但是就话说回来的话，就是关于就是哪个运动好一点的话，就是也没有就是特别的之分，但因为学校需要各种的就是运动人才。像比如说 Alfred 是游泳队的，然后我是足球队的，然后就课外活动来说，他就是 UCC 想要招就是不同的学生，就是来就是在 UCC 就是参与不同的社团，就不可能就是只招一种参加一种课外活动或者一种运动的人。对。
So the next question is about we're a big school. And is it better to be a big fish in a small school in a small pond, or come to UCC where it's big and all the boys are pretty competitive, and it can be difficult to stand out? What do you say to this small versus big fish dilemma? Here's what I would say, and what I'm going to say is very un-Canadian, so I apologize for not being a good Canadian. UCC is the best school in Canada. Universities and colleges around the world know that. So they want our boys. University of Toronto, one of the top 20 universities in the world, accepts almost every boy who applies from UCC because they know that they're getting academically exceptional young men, extracurricular exceptional young men. So, and I also think and look, Alfred can say it better than I can. Alfred found a way in a very big and busy school to get involved and to stand out. And I think that's what we give every boy an opportunity to do. So I would not worry. And I don't think picking a smaller school is going to make it better when you're applying to university versus applying from the best school in the country.
所以这个问题就挺长的，就是关于就是 UCC 是一个很大的一个很大的一个学校，然后每个学生都非常有竞争力，然后也非常就是想要成功，所以这个问题的话，想问就是我不知道这个翻译的准不准确，反正是应不应该就是当一条就是小的池塘的一条大鱼，或者相反，就是像井底之蛙和那个的区别反正招生官的回答就是他首先说就是 UCC 是全加拿大最好的男校，所以他觉得这很不像加拿大人，因为不太低调，但是他还是这样说，因为他觉得 UCC 像比如说多伦多大学就是全球顶尖的就前20的大学，几乎每个就是从 UCC 申请的学生都被多伦多大学给录取了，就是证明了在 UCC 虽然竞争很强， 但是就是回报也很好，因为就是关于升学，因为每个北美的顶尖的大学都认可 UCC 学生的质量，所以他不会就是太在意就是你到底是不是就是关于 UCC 的就是竞争就太过于竞争太过于惨烈这个情况，因为他觉得 UCC 像会给 Alfred 这样的学生就是这么多机会，他也会就是给每个学生都同等的机会同等的机会去成功，所以不用担心就是 UCC 可能你得不到机会或者重视。对。
Alfred or Matthew, do you like? Am I wrong, or do you have something you want to add to that answer?
Alfred?
Sure. So it's a question I think I also see get thrown around a lot. I don't think it's totally unfounded, but at the same time, I think Mr. McBride, you kind of just summarized it exactly. And the entire like rant that I went on was about kind of finding what excites you at UCC, within the vast multitude of opportunities. And because you have such a wide array of things you can do, it's essentially there's so many permutations. It's kind of guaranteed to be unique if you choose something. And if you're still not really satisfied by that answer, I think looking beyond, if you're trying to apply to like some really competitive universities, whether that be in Canada or America, I think everyone has that unique quality or unique qualities to them that they can certainly bring out in their application, and it doesn't necessarily have to be from UCC or whatever that may be, right? But kind of addressing the question at hand, I still feel like UCC provides so many opportunities for you to stand out. It's just kind of hard to go wrong. Like it's virtually impossible because any kind of road you take will be something special, something unique, and everything is outstanding, I would say, to put it very simply. Matthew, do you have anything to add? I forgot to ask.
Oh, I think you put it pretty well, especially when you said there are so many permutations. I think it's really well put.
Right.
所以就是 Alfred 想要补充的话，就是他自己的经验的话来说 ，UCC 就是成功的就是方法和道路就是有很多种然后 UCC 也提供特别多的就是成功的机会，所以每个人都在 UCC 能够找到就是属于自己的成功，所以不存在就是可能就是你没像之前说的就没有机会就是发出你的光芒这种情况，因为太多机会了，就是不管从艺术或者体育哪个方面来说的话你都可以成功的 UCC， 所以不存在这种问题。Yeah.
Okay, what advice would you give to our Chinese applicants? Common mistakes Chinese applicants make in their applications. This is not just a Chinese common mistake. I think this is a mistake that everybody makes. So I said this earlier, my piece of advice is more is not always better. And over programming your son, if you think that's going to make him more attractive to us, it doesn't, because we see right through that. I'm more interested in seeing a boy who has passion for activities and interests. And I've told this story before. 2 years ago, there was a boy that we admitted to grade 7. He was a very good student, but in his interview, what got me, he talked about his paper route, and he delivered newspapers. And a lot of kids deliver newspapers. But what really got me was he said, I actually go door to door to collect the money for the newspaper. I don't do it online because I want to get to know the people I deliver newspapers to. And that reminded me of when I was a 12-year-old boy. And he also played soccer and was, again, very smart. But I thought that's the kind of boy that I want to bring into our community, because community matters to him. And he was passionate about something. So it wasn't, he got into UCC because of good marks. He played soccer and he had a paper route that's what made him stand out among other people. So I think finding things that help, stand out, but more is not better.
Yeah. 所以第9个问题就是就是招生官对于就是想要申请的，特别是 从中国申请的就是家庭和学生的话有什么建议？所以招生官说这个建议不只是对中国家庭了，是对所有就是申请的学生和家庭，就是参加很多的课外活动，但是没有深度，没有就是他没有感觉到你对这个课外活动有激情的话，其实是会有点适得其反这种感觉。所以他举了个例子，就是在就是2年前，就是他录取了一个7年级的学生，然后这个7年级的学生当然有很出众的学习成绩，然后也踢足球，但是最打动招生官的一点其实是这个学生在送报纸的时候，那个学生说就是我会就是每家每户都会抽出时间去收集他们的钱，因为我想要就是真的从由心出发的去了解，就是我送报纸给哪些人送报纸所以他觉得这种就是对于社区的这种关怀和这种就是热情的话真的让这个学生与众不同。对。
And the last question on this page is around the difference between boys and girls learning and co-ed schools and learning styles. So I'm just going to say 4 things. Number 1, girls and boys do learn differently, and we are experts in boys education. Our faculty are experts in boys education. They give conferences around the world on how to teach boys. 3 interesting things that you may or may not know. Number 1, in the prep school, there is an hour every day built into the schedule of play, like where the boys are outside or they're playing sports or practicing, because we know, especially young boys, they've got to be active. So we want them to be active. If I think about just the configuration of our classrooms in the upper school, most of our classrooms, desks and chairs have wheels, or we use a Harkness table, which is, Harkness tables, it's like a big dining room table with the boys sitting around it. And our classes are very it's very active. You walk into a classroom with wheels and boys are rolling around and moving around. That's what they need. That's the way they learn. So I think those are sort of 4 of the ways that I would say that we try to teach and try to meet the needs of the learners that we have, and they're young men who are challenging at times. It's not always clean. It's kind of messy, but they get it done.
Yeah. 所以最后一个问题的话，就是关于就是混校和就是男校就是不同的学习方法，就是 UCC 不同的就是教育他们的方法。所以作为一位男校，就是招生官说，就是其实很多我们的就是教的东西和学习的方法都是就是男生的，就是不知道该怎么翻译，就是男生就是他们独有的一些特点来所制定的一些方案。比如说在那个小学部的话每天不论有多忙，就是都会有1个小时出去玩的时间和运动的时间因为他们知道就是在这个年纪的男生就是真的要出去玩，所以这个是为他们量身就是打造的。然后第2的话就是在学校的话我们的每个座位都不是固定的，都是有轮子的这些椅子，因为他知道可能男生就是天生就比较喜欢动嘛，然后所以就是有这些有轮子的椅子的话，真的能够帮助男生在教室里能够更好的学习。所以就是招生官说的，就是我们的所有的东西都是尽量为男生就是量身打造的。对。
All right, thank you. Okay, Maggie, what would you like me to do now?
So we still have 7 questions left, Dave, in the Q&A session.
Okay.
Yeah, we have about 12 questions, but I answered 5 of them because you've already explained those questions.
Perfect.
And here are 7 of them. And can you see the questions?
I can, yes. Okay.
So the first one is
I'll start.
Yeah.
I'll start at the top. You want me to start at the top? We can
And
find out lots of
I'll read
small-
the questions to the attendees.
Okay.
Yeah. 所以第一个问题是问 UCC 的这个每年大学录取都很好，那么 UCC 的 graduates 的 career 他们的找工作情况怎么样 ？Dave, please.
We have 13,000 alumni around the world, and they're in all kinds of different professions. You know, doctors, lawyers, business people, teachers, volunteers. We do provide support through our old boy network. So, for instance, I can think of a boy who was interested in medicine, and you know, we had him shadowing one of our old boys who's a doctor, a surgeon in a local hospital. So there are opportunities for that to take place, and we'll bring in people from different careers to speak to the boys.
Matthew, can you translate, please?
Yeah, for sure. 所以对于这个问题的回答，招生官说，其实就是很强调，就是我们的校友的这个联络的庞大，就是还是强调就是13000这个数字，就是有13000个校友。然后这个对于未来的职业其实有非常大的帮助因为就是校友和校友之间，校友和在校学生之间就是互帮互助像比如说他举个例子就是一个就是想要从医的学生就跟另外一个就是已经在医学这个领域就是比较就有成就的一名校友就联系上了，然后他们就互相沟通，然后他还就是把那个就比较没有经验的那个就是学生带到他的工作里面，然后就是 job shadow， 然后就这更可能体现就是 UCC 这个校友联络的强大。对
OK， 谢谢你 Matthew。 OK， the next question， 下一个问题就是问 UCC 怎么样确保就是孩子们和那些非常非常富裕的家庭之间在交往的时候有一些这种 concern。 So Dave, this is a very difficult question. Sorry.
This is the security
measures. Yeah.
So we are on a 35-acre campus in the middle of the city. We take security seriously, obviously. In both of the prep school and the upper school building, there's really only one door that is accessible. You've got to get through a receptionist. We have full-time security on campus. Knock on wood, we have not had any problems, and we have some of the most affluent families in the country at UCC, and knock on wood, we've had no problems. But obviously, we take security seriously.
所以这个问题的回答就是关于就是UCC 来 UCC 都是比较相对来说比较富裕的家庭然后关于安全措施，就是招生官说我们因为是在市中心所以招生官对于就是安全这方面就是学校对于安全这方面特别的重视，就安全措施。然后在过去的200多年以来，也就是没有任何的就是对于安全的一些可能就是一些隐患之类的，所以招生官也很自信，就是在之后也希望不会有就是任何的安全的一些问题，因为我们的那个安保团队都非常的专业和强大。对
OK， 接下来一个问题就是关于 exchange program， 就 UCC 有没有这个交换生的项目来支持学生去国外，比方说求学一段时间。So Dave, please.
Exchange programs, not really a priority right now at UCC. We do have in grade 8, year 8 and year 9, there are some French exchanges, but it's not been a focus for us right now. It may be in the future, but not right now.
所以关于交换生的话，其实 UCC 就是目前来说不是 UCC 就是头等大事，因为就是有其他的就是需要关注的点，但是 UCC 8到9年级的话，有比如说法语就是学法语的学生的话，会有一定的交换生的一些活动，但是不是特别大的一个头等大事。对。
Before we move on to the next question, I did want to add to that. I don't know how the situation is going to be in COVID, but I know before COVID, we offered not study abroad trips, but like travel abroad trips. So we had a military history immersion trip where students would go to Europe to kind of, you know, not really study, but like kind of look at and kind of visit historical landmarks from World War II and stuff like that. So we do offer that kind of thing. But yeah.
Yeah.
所以 offer 小就是加一下，就是其实 UCC 其实也有挺多的，就是交换的一些活动，就比如说历史会去欧洲就是第二次世界大战的一些博物馆和那些文物，所以就是也有挺丰富的，在疫情之前有挺丰富的文化交流的一些机会，对。
好，我们下一个问题就是关于一个就是小孩啊，尤其是申请 UCC 的这个SK program 的孩子，招生官有什么一些标准啊？这里要强调一下 ，UCC 没有 JK， 只有 SK 啊。Okay, Dave, please.
So we're a demanding school. We don't make SK students write a test. We do, you know, so for SK, we would like to see report cards from junior kindergarten or what have you. We interview the parents and the boys as well. And look, it's as much about the family and the whole package at that age. It's not so much like, you know, can he read a novel when he's 4 years old? We're not looking for that. We're looking for really nice, well-adjusted boys. The one caveat I will say is the boys need to have really strong English. And I think some families think, okay, well, you'll interview me in March or April, and trust me, his English will be fine by September. If his English isn't fine during the interview, he's not going to be admitted to UCC. We need strong English skills on interview, but it's more of getting to know the family and trying to see the potential in a boy.
所以就是对于就是 SK 就是大班这个录取的一些就是标准的话，就招生官说就是不会就是比如说要求就是比如说学生就是读本书啊或者写一个测试啊这些不是最主要的，它主要是看就是这个学生和这个家庭的环境。他说家庭的整个环境非常非常重要，因为他说在大班就是这个年龄段的话，其实学生的比如说学习成绩啊态度有影响，但是他最主要的还是看就是对就学生自己的一些性格和家长，然后但是招生官特别强调说就是这个大班的这个申请的学生的话，英文一定要非常非常的强，而且就是要在面试的时候要表现出来自己英文很强，而不是就是跟招生官说现在才3月份，然后我9月份开学的时候我会把英文补起来的，这是不是不可行的，是要在面试的时候就英文很强。对。
Okay, the last question， 最后一个问题啊，我们应该可以在10点半结束就是如果一个男孩去所有男生的学校，很小就去，那他长大以后会不会跟女孩子相处很 awkward? David, I think this is a perfect final question.
Yeah, this is a good question, and look, it's a question that I would say I get a lot, and so I have a few different answers for this. First of all, the first thing I want to say is, yes, we're an all-boys school. Half of the faculty and staff at UCC are women. And I think the women, and my wife works at the school, and she's actually sitting in the room right now, so I have to say nice things about her. I think the women that work in all boys schools, they're really strong women. They're the kinds of women that you want around your boys. And they're great role models, and they're demanding. And so it's not like a boy comes to 200 Lonsdale and he never sees a woman again. There's lots of women who work at the college. We run, you know, Alfred talked about WAC, which we run, the World Affairs Conference, which we run with Branksome Hall, a girls' school. There are 4 girls' schools that surround UCC. We do activities with all the girls' schools. I think our boys go on dates with the girls from the girls' schools. I don't hear problems. I think the other thing that I remind families of is a typical school day at UCC runs from 8:30 to 3:30. The rest of a boy's life is co-ed, and you know, there are lots of opportunities for him to spend time with girls elsewhere, but 8:30 to 3:30 when he's at school. It's all boys in school. It's an incredibly rich community. And, Alfred hit the nail on the head. Never walk alone is something that is so special. And I think so special to the boys and to the community that we have at UCC.
所以最后一个问题其实就是来到男校之后的话，会不会就是跟异性就是交流的时候可能会比较 awkward， 或者就是比较不自在。所以老师招生官的回答就是其实有2点，就第一就是 UCC 就是一半或者一半以上的教师都是女性，而且都是非常就是非常强、非常独立，然后非常有自己就是主观的一些女性而且这些女性老师是我们学生的楷模然后我们尽量就是把她们当成我们的模范所以这是第一点。但是第二点的话，其实 UCC 是旁边有3-4所女校比如说 BSS、Branksome、Havergal， 然后就比如说像 Alfred 之前说的那个峰会的话，是跟另外一所女校 Branksome 一起共同举办的所以这共同举办的这个机会的话，就能让我学校的男生就跟其他就是其他学校的女生就是有这种沟通的机会，所以不代表就是进入男校你就像招生官调侃的说，你就完全见不到女性然后最后一点的话，就是一般对于走读生来说的话一天就是8点半到3点半，然后3点半之后就是这个学生的自己的时间了，然后自己的时间他们可能经常会跟就是女生一起出去玩然后还调侃说就是可能还会约会所以对，所以3点半之后的时间的话，就有很多跟女性接触的。对。
Okay, thank you so much. Wow, Dave, 10:30, 2 hours. And yes, I noticed that even at 10:15, we still have 100 parents online, and this is a Zoom capacity for 100. Okay, all right. 谢谢各位已经是晚上10点半了。今天我们的讲座呢到这里呢就很圆满的结束了。特别感谢 Matthew did a great job. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. 2 thumbs up for you. Yeah. And Alfred, thank you so much. And it's really our pleasure to have you today. Yeah. Okay. So 大家如果还有什么问题的话呢，也欢迎联系我们瑞思学的老师们，邮件给我们或者给我们发消息，我们会把你们的这个 question 带给招生官。So David, I just told the parents if they have more questions, they're more than welcome to email UCC admission directly or ask us to help convey the questions. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Maggie, for getting together a group of parents who are looking ahead to next year. And honestly, you don't really need me. I think Matthew and Alfred could have done this by themselves and been maybe better than me. So I want to thank both of them for representing their school so well. You can see the pride that they both feel in their school, but also I hope that families see in those 2 young men the kind of great boys who go to UCC. So thank you.
Yes, for sure. 好的，那首先谢谢大家，再次感谢大家今天晚上的光临祝大家晚安。Have a great night, everyone. Bye.